verse 19. They are now in the middle of the book of Devarim, middle of Parshas Devarim of the book of Devarim. Devarim is Moshe's farewell speech. It's a series of speeches, maybe 3 speeches, 4 speeches, 5 speeches. It's not 100% clear. He gives it over the last month of his life. It's not exactly clear. But these are the series of speeches where he addresses the people. There are some parts of Devarim, of the book of Devarim, which were not mentioned earlier, but there are some parts which are repeated or stated a little bit differently. So in that context, let us turn to chapter 1, verse 19. Moshe Rabbeinu has started. What has he said until now? He's talked about the fact that there, he says, I cannot do this land myself. I cannot judge everybody myself. It's too hard for me to judge you. You're too many people. And so therefore he appointed officers over the people, and they were the ones who were in charge of the people. It was division of labor. So at that point, Moshe Rabbeinu then says that he commanded everything, and then they started to travel from Mount Sinai. So we're going to pick this up in chapter 1, verse 19, where they start to travel from Har Sinai. And we traveled from Horeb. Horeb is another name for Sinai. Hello. By the way, next Sunday and Monday night, Rabbi Yosef will be here with Kelly also. So we can hopefully study with what?
Did you say with Rowie too?
No, not Rowie. With Kelly Newman, who comes on the study sessions, and hopefully we can have a in-person study session with Rabbi Yosef, and hopefully Rabbi Yosef will teach us Torah. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to study from Rabbi Yosef, and he won't just be a box on our computer screen. Maybe Judah Shore will come down from New York, and maybe Jerry will come down from DuPont to embrace Rabbi Yosef in person. Okay, so Sunday and Monday next week, yeah. Judah, does that mean you're coming?
No, I'm in the Newark airport, flying in a couple hours to Eretz Israel.
Israel. Okay, good
Yep.
for you. Okay, good. Kiss the ground for us. Okay.
I will.
Well, thank you. And so we traveled from Horeb at that point. And we traveled through the entire wilderness. We traveled through that entire great and awesome wilderness. That you saw. Derech Amori, the way of the mountain of the Amorites. Kasher tzivah Hashem Elokeinu l'sanu, like Hashem our God commanded us. Vanavo ad Kadesh Barnea. So from Mount Sinai we came to Kadesh Barnea.
What is it?
What?
Amorite Highlands.
And what verse are you reading?
19. What are the Amorite?
Oh, the Amorite mountains.
Where are they?
Well, that's a whole question. So
Depends on if you went on the pilgrimage.
yeah. So no. So he says we traveled through. Do they have a map in there? They should have a map.
Yeah, there's a map in the beginning of.
Yeah. So we traveled from the Sinai through the path of the Amorites to Kadesh Barnea. The problem is that there are different places that are called Kadesh Barnea, so it's not entirely clear. But my guess is that they traveled certainly east, and when they went, would probably be they had to go a little bit south. That would be my guess, but I don't know. What does it say?
It's not on the map.
Well, Kadesh Barnea is at the top of the map.
Oh, yeah, but there's
Mount Seir
two.
Mount Seir is slightly southeast of it.
Do they get to Mount Seir yet? No. Okay, so
But it doesn't say the Amorite Highlands. They are not on.
okay.
Let's go on.
Okay, so
Implications for.
for Kadesh Barnea, right?
For Mount Sinai.
For Mount Sinai? Well, okay.
But neither of them are the ones that you did.
Oh, we're out for both of them. Okay, fair enough. All right, there okay. So we're not sure. Steve, I don't know. That's,
Precisely my thought.
okay. Hamid, Rashi says the wilderness that's great and awesome. Shayubo nechashim kikoros. There were in it snakes the size of beams. Va'akrabim kikshatot. And scorpions as large as bows. So this wilderness is called awesome because they would see the carcasses of snakes and scorpions. Then Va'omare lechem, and I said to you, Batem al har ad harem ori asher Hashem Elokeinu nosei. And I said, actually, no, we should imagine that the mountain of Amori is northeast of where they're going because they're going from Sinai. They think they're traveling into Canaan. They're not going into the wilderness. They think they're going towards Canaan. So we should assume they're going northeast. So, well, from the Mount Sinai, where I think it's Mount Sinai, which is Jebel Harb or Jebel Lauz. So from the coast of the Red Sea in what's today northern Saudi Arabia.
But it says here that you come to the Amorite highlands, which the Lord is giving us. So does that mean it's in Canaan, or does that mean somewhere else?
Why is it saying islands? It's mountain.
Yeah, but Steve is asking, what does it mean whether it's what does it mean when it says Har Hamori? That literally means mountains.
Yeah,
But
the Golan Heights, or even the Transjordan is more mountainous than the plains of Moab where they were.
Okay, so you're saying it's the Golan Heights?
I'm just saying, even
There
is an opinion that it's the Golan Heights, but even if it isn't, where Petra is in Jordan, across from Jericho, is still mountainous.
Yeah, well, Steve is wondering why it says the highlands as opposed to the mountains.
Yeah, so I'm saying Petra, the Red Mountains across from Jericho, are mountains. They were in the plains of Moab. Plains literally means flatlands, and yes, they were going northeast, like you described, no matter from what direction they were coming, and it's a higher land than where they were.
Okay. So, okay, verse 20 says, and I said to you, you come, but why does it say that Hashem is giving it to us? It must be that was part of Canaan. Why is Hashem giving them the mountains of the Amorites?
Because Amorites were one of the 7 nations of
Right,
Canaan.
so that must be that land was so it must be in Canaan. And what does it mean that Hashem is giving to us? Because they weren't in Canaan yet.
Because it's the Transjordan, so Canaan
Right, so they're
spread.
still on the other side of the Jordan, and they have not yet gotten there, but they're being told Hashem is giving them the highlands of the Amorites.
But they didn't actually think the Jordan was necessarily the dividing line.
Maybe not, but when God says to Moshe, you're not going into the promised land, he says you will not cross over the Jordan. Well, no, Mount Moriah would have been in Jerusalem, what we call Jerusalem today.
Not Moriah,
Mount Nevo. Yeah, but so I don't understand. I only have Rashi's commentary in front of me, but that's an interesting thing. What does it say about this phrase?
Very quick history lesson. In chapter 3 of Deuteronomy, later in the Parsha, and again in the book of Judges, Yiftach tells the king of Ammon that we didn't take their land, the Amorites took their land, and we took it from the Amorites. So it's basically the original plan, according to what Moshe told us always, was that we weren't going to ever be in the Transjordan, but because they fought us and we didn't even start with them, and they were part of the Canaanite nations, then Batem Ad Har Amori, we reached
But
this
the
place.
problem with is that this is right after they left Sinai. That story from Yiftach is a reference to the end of Moshe's time in the wilderness. And this is right after they left Sinai. It says, we came to the Amorite land, which God is giving us. That's the problem with that approach. So, okay, well, what does the commentary say on this? Do you have it on Safari, or can you pull it up?
I mean, other than Rashi, which doesn't talk about this.
Yeah, it's-
Maybe the,
that doesn't come-
no, maybe look what Ibn Ezra says.
Ibn Ezra doesn't say anything either.
Okay, so we have to look into this later.
Only the Hamek Davar has a commentary about
Yeah, but
this.
not on this. He doesn't have it on these words.
Yeah,
What does he say? Oh, he said, I said it, but not God.
right.
Okay, it's hard for me to read it on the screen. Okay, we'll have to look into it
Mhm.
more and
May-
see what,
Well, maybe what he means is because after Aaron died, they went back 8 steps. So the
but this is
original
before
plan-
Aaron died. This is right after Sinai.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but maybe that's like Moshe is telling them the general plan without specifically
I don't know.
being geographically accurate.
No. Well, let's see. Let's see what we'll research this today. We'll see what the commentaries say over the next 24 hours. We'll all take it upon ourselves to do some further research, see if we could come up with explanation to Steve's question. Anyway, verse 21 says, then Moshe says, look, Hashem has given you this land. Alei Reish, go up and inherit it. Kasher diber Hashem like Hashem, your God, spoke to you, al tirav al tichas, don't be afraid. Vatikravuno ai kochem, and you all came close to me. Vatomer, when you said, Nishlcha Hashem lefanenu, we'll send men before us, v'yachberu lanu es haaretz, and they'll let us send men before us, and they'll scout out the land. V'yashivu osanu davar, as haderech asher na'aleh as harem asher navo lehem. Let's send men, so we could scout out the land, and they'll bring back to us, tell us the path that we could go into the land, and the cities that we can come to. So here is a major difference. The way, by the way, going back to that verse, the other way to read it is that we came up until those mountains. We're ready to conquer those mountains. And when we come to those mountains, let's say they're in the Golan Heights, for example, then we're being told by Moshe, okay, you're ready, go up and conquer these mountains. Now go in and conquer the mountains. We're standing there on the precipice of those mountains. Let's say they're in the Golan Heights. That would make sense. And then before they go in, they said, wait, we can't go in until we send spies out before us to scout out the land. But the problem with this is that when this narrative is first told in the book of Bamidbar in Parashat Shlach, Hashem says, you send out for yourself spies. So who is it? Are they asking for it, or is God commanding it? So Moshe says, "Vatikrivunu lai kochem bi'ir buvia," as a rabble, meaning you as like a mob. U'alanu omer, and later on it says, "Vatikrivunu lai kol rashei shiftechem v'zeknechem," and all of your heads of your tribes and your elders approached. V'atomru hein haranu, and you said, "Behold, God has shown us." Ota kriva haita hogenes. That approach was proper, meaning to say that later on in chapter 5, verse 20 and 21, chapter 5, verse 20 and 21, there it states, so they came to Hashem, There they came to Moshe, but it wasn't just a mob, it was the heads of the tribes came. And they said, it's too much to have direct exposure to God. You teach us. So he says, Oto Krivaita. That was the proper way to approach Moshe. Yoadim mechavdim esazkenim, where the young honor the elders, and send them ahead of them. And the elders honor their heads to walk in front of them. But here in this particular case, all of you came close. All of you came close in this particular case. Be'er Buvia was a rabble. The young ones were pushing the elders, and the elders were pushing the heads. So basically, they showed it was like a place of, it was a panic that they were approaching Moshe in, they were panicking. And that shows a lack of faith on their parts. So they approached Moshe the wrong way. That's the message. And that's why this mission and the spies went very bad. Okay, so Vayashivu son of Rashi says, bring back something to us. Tell us what language, they're speaking. The road which we should ascend. They tell us there's no road which doesn't have crookedness in it. Meaning to say, tell us which is the best route to go. Well, that's a beautiful message from Rashi. There's no path in life that doesn't have crookedness. Every path in life, we're going to have crookedness. Nobody goes on the straight path. If you do, it means you're not going anywhere. And the cities which we should conquer, tell us which cities to conquer first. And so you came to me and you asked me, and the matter was good in my eyes. And I took from you 12 men, 1 man from each tribe. Hold on 1 second. Somebody, by the way, forgot their phone here. Oh, his phone, this is so bizarre.
Should have called my number.
No, I think this is Adin's.
Oh, yeah.
I think he forgot his phone here. Okay. Mine is surgically attached to my ear. So what does it mean? He says, Vayita v'nei, the matter was good in my eyes. Rashi says, Be'enai, it was good in my eyes, v'lo be'enei hamakom, but not in the eyes of God. V'im be'enei Moshe hayatov, if it was good in the eyes of Moses, Lama amra b'toch hachos, why is he mentioning it in a negative way? If it was good in Moshe's eyes, why is he rebuking them? Mashal Adam Shomer Chavero, it's like a parable. A person says to his friend, Mechorli chamor chazeh, sell me your donkey. Amar lo, the man responds, Hein. All right, I'll sell it to you. Then he says, Nos na'atali nisayon. Will you first give it to me for a trial? I want to test it out, a test run. Amar lo, Hein, okay. Be'arimuk vos, can I try it on the mountains? He says, okay. Amar lo, Hein. And then he says he sees he can test a donkey however he wants. The buyer says in his heart, I'm certain I'm not going to find the blemish in him. Immediately said to him, take your money, and I will not try it out now, because you've shown me that you're confident. So Afani Hodeti with Vrechem. Moshe says, I agreed to your words. Shema tachzru b'chem k'shetru sheini ma'akev. V'atem lo chazarti b'chem. Moshe Rabbeinu agreed because he thought he's calling their their bluff. He thinks that when they see he's agreeing, they're going to see he's not worried about anything, and so they're not going to really want to go in. So, but he got called on his bluff. They really did want to go in, and so that's what Rashi's explanation. Because otherwise, if it was good in Moshe's eyes, why is he rebuking them? And he sends 12 men, one from each tribe. But the problem is, how many tribes are there? 13, because there were 12 sons of Jacob, but one was split into two. Joseph was split into Ephraim and Manasseh. So there should be 13 people going. But the tribe of Levi did not send anybody. That's what Rashi says.
They're very smart.
Well, maybe, but they also did their own private rebellion later on after this with Korach. So they're all doing their own private rebellions. And they turned and they ascended the mountain. These are the spies. And they came to the valley of Eshkol. And they spied it out. Rashi says to the valley of Eshkol, Magid shenikra Shem Sofo. Why was it called? Why was it called the valley of Eshkol?
The name it after
Because
former Israeli president.
the
In
Rashi
English,
said,
in parentheses,
Rashi
with
says-
pads that they
Rashi
took from
says-
their.
Rashi says that it refers to the Shem Sofo refers to the end, because in the end they took an Eshkol, they took a cluster of grapes from there. I cut you off, Rabbi Yosef. What were you going to say?
Just to say that in Sefaria, they added in parentheses the explanation of what that means.
Right, that's what Rashi. So it wasn't.
That
A
they took
specific-
from their cluster.
Yeah, they went to a valley which is later on called the Valley of the Cluster because that's where they took grapes from. So there was a prime minister of Israel called Eshkol after Ben Gurion. Yeah, so maybe he took all those guys took their names. They made their names. So I guess he was obviously a Zionist. So he's taking the name that refers to the cluster of grapes from Israel. I think for many years. Wasn't what that symbol of the people carrying the grapes?
Still
where was
is.
that-
The Ministry of Tourism is still the two men carrying the cluster.
But that's ironic because that was by the spies to say that the land you shouldn't go to because the land is nice, but the people aren't. So okay.
Today the
Now
people are nicer than they were then.
Adam mipri haaretz, and they took in their hands from the fruits of the land. Vayoridu eleinu, and they brought them down to us. Vayoshivu sanu davar, and they brought back word to us. Vayomu tova haaretz asher Hashem Elokeinu nosen lanu. When they said, the land you want to get that God is giving to us is great. Rashi says, Vayiragu, so they spied it out. Muhammad shahalchu ba'arba umanin shesi ve'erev. They went up its four sides by the length and the breadth. And they brought down to us Magich Eretz Yisrael Gavoa Mikol Aratzos. The land of Israel is higher than all the other lands. That's why it says they brought down to us. Vayomru Tova Aretz, and they said the land is good. Mi Heim Shamru Tovasa. Who are the ones who said it was good? Yoshua v'Kalev, Joshua and Caleb. V'lo avitem la'alot, and they did not, but you did not want to go up. It's interesting, by the way, that Moshe is saying you didn't want to go up. The people he's talking to wanted to go up. They had no desire one way or the other. They were too young. He's talking about their fathers. He says your fathers basically did not want to go up. And you rebelled against God. Rashi says, Lashon hatrasa, rejection. Hitrastem kenegem amaro. You rejected his word. You rejected his word. Verse 27. Vatiragnu ba'alechem, and you slandered in your tents. Vatomro, v'sinat Hashem otanu, otzianu me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'teitu tanu b'yad ha'amori lahashmidenu. And you slandered in your tents, and you said, because Hashem hates us, He took us out of Egypt to give us into the hands of the Amorites to destroy us. Teragnu, Rashi says, Lashon hara. Teragnu is an expression for malicious talk. Kain divrei nirgan. Adam amotzi diba. B'sinat Hashem atanu. Said God who hates us. He loved you, but you hated him. Oh, what a beautiful Rashi. What does Rashi say? Ma Mashal Ediot Omer, Ma de Buibach al Richamach, Ma de Buibei alach. That which is in your heart about your friend is what you think in his heart about you. So that which you say, your friend, that which you think about your friend is really what you think about your friend. Meaning, that which you think about your friend is really what you think is in his heart about you. So that which you say your friend says about you is really what that which is in your heart. I'm keep getting confused. That which is in your heart about your friend is what you think is in his heart about you. What you really think about your friend is what you say he says about you. So they said God hates us. It's really because you hate God. That's the idea there. Well, Elon, that which is in your heart about your friend. Okay, and then the next Rashi tells us, B'sinat Hashem otanu utzianu me'eretz Mitzrayim. With the hatred of Hashem for us, He let us out from Egypt. Hotzaso l'sina haisa. His taking out was for hatred. Mashal melech basar adam. It's like a king of flesh and blood. Shayil shnei banim. He had two sons, v'yeshlo stei sados, in two fields. Achas shel shaki, v'achas shel ba'al. One which was a field of irrigation, one which was a field of rain. L'misha ohev notein shel shaki. The one he loves, he gives him the field of irrigation. L'misha sonei notein lo shel ba'al. He gives him the one that depends upon rain, because that's more variable.
What's the difference between Egypt and Canaan?
Yeah, well, Egypt is irrigated. Eretz Mitzrayim shel shakai, shenayla solel mashkosav. Eretz Canaan shel ba'al. Well, tziomi Mitzrayim will take on Eretz Canaan. He says he hated us. He took us out of Egypt, which was an irrigation area, and gave us the area of rain. Well, gave us a country that needs rain, which is much more. Yeah. Rabbi Yosef had a question. Yeah.
Not a question, just
sure.
wanted to say from verse 27 that's proof that the Amorite was the main Canaanite nation, because he says Biada Amori.
Right. Very good point.
So back to when it said Hara Amori, it's not specifically talking about a certain area. It's just saying that is the Canaanite nation that they feared the most, or that
The Amorites. All right. Let's stop the recording here because we're going to have a mincha at this point. Yashikov to everyone.